The lights were always off. The door was never opened. But the soup was always gone by morning. The hallways smelled of old paint and boiled cabbage, the kind of smell that never truly left. It clung to the walls, the carpet, even to the memories of the people who lived there. Martha Bell walked slowly, careful not to spill the soup, sloshing inside the dented metal pot she carried with both hands. Apartment 3B was dark again. It always was. Martha paused in front of the door, listening. No television, no footsteps, no coughing, no radio murmuring in the background, just the faint, uneven knocking of the building's old pipes settling for the night. She bent down and placed the pot gently on the welcome mat, wrapping it in a folded towel to keep the warmth in. No knocking, no notes, no questions. She straightened her back, took one last look at the door, and walked away. Martha was 64 and lived alone in apartment 2A. Her husband, George, had died 8 winters ago, quietly, in his sleep, the way he always said he wanted to go. The apartment never felt full after that. Cooking was how she kept him close. Every evening at 6, she still made more than she needed. Soup for 4, even though there was only one chair at the table now. At first, she froze the leftovers. Then the freezer filled. Then one evening, she noticed the darkness across the hall. 3B, no lights. Not once. The first night, she left soup without thinking. The second night, she did it out of concern. By the third week, it had become routine. And every morning, without fail, the pot was empty. Martha never saw anyone enter or leave apartment 3B. She asked the landlord once, pretending casual curiosity. "Someone lives there, right?" He barely looked up from his clipboard. "Rent's paid," he said. "That's all I care about." That was the end of the conversation. Still, the lights stayed off. One morning, Martha noticed something different. The pot wasn't just empty. It had been washed. Carefully, thoroughly. Placed back exactly where she'd left it. Handle turned neatly to the side. Whoever lived there had manners. And pride. Martha told herself not to imagine too much. Imagination led to worry, and worry led to trouble. She had lived long enough to know that sometimes the kindest thing you could do was not demand answers. So she kept cooking. Chicken soup when the weather turned cold. Lentils when money was tight. Potato stew when the week felt long. The pot always returned. The lights never came on, and the silence behind that door grew heavier. The cold wave hit without warning. The kind that made the news. Temperatures dropped overnight, and the city opened emergency warming centers. Martha wrapped her scarf tighter and shuffled down the hallway that evening, breath fogging the air in front of her. The soup steamed so much it blurred her glasses. She stopped in front of 3B. The door wasn't closed. It was open, just a crack. Martha's heart stuttered. She set the pot down slowly and leaned closer. "Hello?" she whispered. No answer. The darkness inside the apartment felt thicker than before, like it was holding its breath. Martha pushed the door open gently. The apartment was nearly empty. No furniture, no lamps, just a thin mattress on the floor and a few candles burning low on the windowsill. On the mattress lay a man, wrapped in coats and mismatched blankets. His cheeks were sunken, his lips pale, his breathing shallow and uneven. Martha gasped, "Oh my goodness." The man's eyes fluttered open. "I'm sorry," he whispered weakly. "I didn't mean to bother anyone." "Don't speak," Martha said, already kneeling beside him. "You're freezing." His name was Leonard Hale. Leonard spoke slowly, embarrassed by every word. He'd injured his back at work, lost his job, burned through his savings trying to stay afloat. When the electricity bill became too much, he let it go. He paid the rent first. Always the rent. Candles were cheaper. Silence was safer. Soup at night was easier than asking for help in daylight. "I plan to pay you back," he said quietly. "Someday." Martha shook her head, tears stinging her eyes. "You already have," she said. "You trusted me." She helped him sit up, wrapped him in another blanket. Then, without asking permission, she flipped the light switch. The bulb flickered and stayed on. Leonard squinted, unused to the brightness. Martha didn't call the police. She called for help. A neighbor came first, then another. The superintendent arrived, grumbling until he saw Leonard's condition, then falling silent. The heat was restored the next day. So was the electricity. Word spread quickly through the building. Someone brought groceries. Another offered rides. A social worker helped Leonard apply for assistance. The hallway felt warmer. Leonard recovered slowly. Pride took longer. He started knocking before taking the soup now. Sometimes he stayed. Sometimes he talked. Sometimes he just listened. Martha cooked anyway. The lights in 3B stayed on. So did the door. For months, Martha never asked why the lights stayed off. She never demanded explanations. She never asked for thanks. She just brought soup. And sometimes, survival doesn't sound like applause or rescue. Sometimes it sounds like a pot being emptied quietly in the dark.